I'm here with Matt at the Boys Hope in Baltimore. Matt, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Great. To kick it off, maybe you can share with everybody a little bit about how you got in with the Boys Hope here in Baltimore.
How I got here to Boys Hope. Uh, I found Boys Hope actually through one of my best friends through in the sixth grade. He, William Harris, definitely, me and him were pretty much always hanging out together, lived on the same street, even though he went to different schools. I mean, he was sort of like the brother I never had, as in just being at my age, and I could always relate to him. We were definitely the best of friends. Uh, he ended up for 1 week not coming over to my house, and I was wondering where he was at. I started to get worried. I mean, here in Baltimore City, it's pretty tough. You start to get worried about things fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Just with like a lot of crime, there's a lot of trouble being around. So I'd say that I definitely was scared. I thought something happened to him. Uh, but when he came back the following weekend, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey man, where you been at?" Things like that. And he was like, "Yeah, I found this. I was at this place called Boys Hope, and at this time, we were down in the city, and down we had a house in the city, and it's like, yeah, I was down there, and they pretty much just take you in, and they put you in another school, and I was there pretty much for one of the practice visits there, and I was like, oh, okay, put you in another school, put you in a good school. I'm like, okay, all right, what else? And he's like, well, ultimately they're trying to get you to college, and once he said that, ah, and I think it was the fifth grade.
Yeah.
Once he said college, that was something that really triggered in my mind. I was like, "Whoa, that's something I wanna." That's something I knew no one in my family's been to. It's something I know I need to get to. Uh, I don't know, sort of self-evident to try to get into the program. So I literally became the about a year and a half later the knock on the door kid. Me and my mom, we walked down there. I knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm gonna be a part of this program." Um, Got some conversation going with Mr. Shuck. I talked to him, wrote my letter,
Hmm.
if I want to be here and things like that. And then after that, pretty much took it from there as in me being a non-residential. So was living in the house at the time. Uh, Pretty much came every day after school. I was attending another school. This is actually my third school
Hmm.
that I attended through my middle school years. So
Okay.
uh, attended the school that was right next door to where the house was in Archbishop Borders. About 3/4 of the way into the year, I ended up leaving my mom and just my family, my cousins and my aunt. We all moved down to North Carolina, not New Jersey. We all moved down to North Carolina,
Hmm.
and was pretty much down there for about 6, 7 months. Came back up, and I wasn't in school. Uh, Sort of a big deal, To me, I was like, hey, I know what I have my eyes set on. I know what I want. I'm not gonna get it by not being in school. So as sort of talked myself into going back to Boys Hope. Just came over as a guest one night, and I just kept coming back. And it's just like, hey, I'm not in school. I want to be in school. So can you guys help me out? Get me back in school. And ultimately, I wanted to get back into the program. And about 2, 3 months later, I was at Patterson High School, and it's not the greatest school, but it's a school.
Yeah.
That's the way I seen it. I was at Patterson High School, uh, stayed there for the year, and followed up. I moved into the house in the middle of my year. The first quarter was already gone by the time
Hmm.
I started school, so sort of was already failing the year, but made some sort of a comeback of what I could,
Yeah.
and the following year ended up applying to different schools, Calvert Hall and Archbishop Curley. Uh, Calvert Hall, a big thing there was, my grades really good enough and was my education good enough from Patterson to transition into the 10th grade at Calvert Hall. I personally saw it sort of really hard, hey, is this really going to be good? And then after that, my grades weren't good enough for me to get into Calvert Hall, so I didn't get in, but I did get into Curley. And the only way I was going to be able to attend Curley, though, was I would have to repeat my ninth grade year. Definitely a huge thing for me to think about. I think it's a huge thing for anybody to think about. I was like, whoa, I never failed. I never had anything, had been held back in my life. And I was just like, this is one of those big decisions I
Hmm.
had to make of why, why should I have to do this? But sort of the reality of it was do I want to go into the 10th grade and then not be prepared and be struggling my 10th and 11th grade year and not get into the schools I want to get into?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I want to go back to ninth grade, have a good year, have a good 10th grade year, just so I have a strong base
Mm-hmm.
to start off with, so that way everything else, just goes through. So,
How have your academics been since you've been at the Boys Hope?
uh, Boys Hope has pretty much changed my academics a lot. I'd say as a kid, I definitely was a good student. I could do things the right way. I would just be that guy. I was just that guy that I would do the work and I'd get bored. I'd just get in trouble because I'd be so bored. I'd end up doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing. If it's talking or, just things like that. But Boys Hope definitely just sort of gave me that backbone.
Yeah.
They were definitely there. They were the support and they gave me structure. They sort of taught me how to really study.
Yeah.
They showed me how to really designate my time, sort of time management, as in when it comes down to really working towards what you want.
Right.
So
I understand there's a lot of volunteering and other extracurricular activities that they encourage you to be a part of. Maybe you can share that with us a little bit.
oh yeah, volunteering, that's a huge thing, I'd say. Personally, I take volunteering into account because I'm actually student body president at my school, and it's something I actually want to do with my school.
That's
So
great.
yeah, it's junior. I actually want to do that at my school, and I guess it counts as extracurricular as well.
Mm-hmm.
But volunteering is a huge thing because you got people giving to this program, and it's more so of why always take, why not give back?
Right.
So you have to really say to yourself, no matter who you are and what it is that you're doing or you're receiving, how can you give back? How can you be appreciative? How can you really show that you're there? You're not only a person that's going to sort of take away, but if you can make a difference, try it. No matter if that's from a hello to how clean your yard,
Right.
or how clean the street, whatever it is, whatever you can do it. So that's definitely a big thing with me with volunteering. And annually they set a goal of 100 hours. For the past couple years, yeah, we've definitely done that. Some of us have done more. It's just only because it's just the way your schedule works out and just your own drive of what you want to do. So
That's great.
that. Extracurriculars, I would say, would be athletics. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
huge part of my extracurriculars. Track and field primarily.
Okay.
It's definitely something. I played football for the first 2 years at Curley. Didn't play this year because I'm actually working at Johns Hopkins. So it's like, what's going to look better on my college resume, varsity football or working in a lab at Johns Hopkins. So
Right.
one of the most prestigious places in the world. So I was just like, yeah, let me go ahead. I got to work. So did that. And yeah, SGA, as I said. Just a lot of clubs in my school, within my school, things like that. It's really extracurricular activities.
Great. Well, Matt, I really appreciate you sharing your stories and best of luck in your journey. And thanks for having us at the Boys Hope Club today.
Thank you for coming. Hey, anytime, anybody, anywhere, questions, please comment. I'm on Facebook, Matt Greenhill. That's really it.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Not a problem.